is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
JJ Wang, it's week 14. DJ Dove has a little celebration. I got on my Santa hat, my Santa shirt. Everybody check out our sites. We're all Christmased up for a couple weeks and red and green all over the site. The picture for the episode is pretty snazzy. I put us in some really long Santa hats, gave us some lights, but I'm celebrating today because my rankings actually looked good this week. Usually I'm learning the ropes. I've been hitting some walls because I think the way if I read right, the way they do it is they base it upon your like top 20 guys, not all like 180 guys or whatever you rank.
Yeah, but that makes more sense. Trying to rank 180 guys. I'm sorry to all you guys that rank all those players down that deep. Kudos to you guys, but it's not really hard. It's hard to.
But yeah, they average the top 20 or so. So if you're off by like one or two guys, you drop like a lead balloon. And needless to say, I'm a lead balloon usually. But this week, DJ Dove is number 24 out of 100. And I think it was 190. I think it's down to 182 because some guys must have dropped out. But yeah, 24 overall.
Those guys just don't have the love for it like you do. They were probably finishing at the bottom, and they was like, I don't want to do this. I'm going to quit and give up.
I mean, I did have a bottom week, so I got to be embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. Like I'm learning the ropes of the rankings, and
I'm pretty sure everybody's had a bottom week. I don't care what anybody said. Nobody came into this game shooting 100% on their rankings. I mean, it's just not feasible. Hey, you're on your way, man. You're a top 24. That means you're an RB2, wide receiver 2. So, I mean, you're gonna be getting phone calls from some higher ups for long.
Not if they look on season long. Like season long, I'm still in the high 160. So
gotta start somewhere, man.
I'm working on it, and we'll see how it pans out. Plus, also, I didn't get a personal shout out, but the fantasy footballers who I know both of us listen to and sort of helped us get into, like, they're guys that we listen to get ideas and just to learn from. I was their first Monday Punday this week.
Oh, look at you!
I gave them Cortland nothing.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations.
I was quite excited. I sent a whole bunch on Sunday as I was bored or Monday when I was just mad because everybody's terrible, Sunday or whatever it was. And I was like, ooh, Cortland nothing, because that's what he is to me. And I'm just going to talk about him actually in a moment here. Cortland nothing is done. So he'll score as many points this week as he scored last week for the rest of the season.
Yeah, Cortland has been done pretty much the moment Russell Wilson took that first snap. I mean, that whole offense has been shot. I mean, he's had a couple of good games. Him and Judy just suffer. I feel like Judy's a legit wide if he can stay healthy long enough. But we know Sutton's great. I feel like Judy's good, but like I said, they've just had very, 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 very bad quarterback play.
A follow up to that, how does that put Judy in that healthy wide receiver too? Because Sutton and Judy sort of took from each other. Does that put Judy in the wide receiver too? Do you think he stays the same when you sneak in Washington?
Not really, because when Judy's out, Sutton does literally exactly nothing changes.
How about Greg Dulcich?
When Sutton's out, Judy's in. There's nothing really changes. I don't think nothing really changes with any of these receivers because they still suck. They still suck either way.
Yeah, they're terrible.
It doesn't matter how many receivers you put in there. Russell Wilson's not good at the moment.
I have finally given up on Wilson. I think I have him all the way.
But I will say, if I was going to start anybody on that team, it would be Dulcich.
It'd be, I say Dulcich. Wilson right now is at 24. I got to adjust it because the news came out after that. Another news that I got to switch is
how's he not 29 or something?
Well, because there's Bryce Perkins and John Wolford, and there's like 6 teams on bye. The guys behind him only right now are the Rams quarterbacks and the Houston Texans quarterbacks, who my brother is back at quarterback. Davis Mills.
Oh, really? Oh, yes, I got a starting quarterback.
It announced this week. They realized, Kyle Allen stinks. We better just double check with Davis Mills before we decide not to draft a quarterback with the #1 overall pick.
Yeah, but it didn't make much sense to get rid of to bench him. He was playing bad, obviously. Yeah. But to bench him for Kyle Allen, who we obviously know is not a starting quarterback, might as well. Davis Mills only been in the league 2-3 years, or 2 years, yeah. So you might as well just let him play out. This year's lost anyway. Yeah. Might as well
was
might as
lost
well let it
conversation.
play out. I mean, and if anything, if he can play decent enough, it's going to help him out maybe for a different team or something like that. Cal Allen, there's not really any future for Cal. I mean, he's a backup. He's a career backup. That's what Cal Allen does. Davis
Yeah.
Mills is probably that same thing. But yeah, all right, I'm happy. I got a starting quarterback. I finally could start two. All right.
And on one more early note we have here, Baker was picked up by the Rams. Probably not going to play this week, but they'll probably play him a little bit just out of curiosity.
I don't know why you would play him. I mean, I don't know how many times you need to be proven wrong on somebody, but I feel like I heard that the Rams just did this so the 49ers couldn't get him, right?
Maybe they'll just do it.
Because
I
the
mean, their quarterback room
49ers,
is so strong.
the 49ers waiver priority evidently was really, really low.
Yeah.
And then the Rams were like, well, we'll just pull Baker off for $1.5 million because our cap's already screwed anyway.
Oh, there's a lot of screw
So,
teams. Yeah.
so let's just screw one of our rivals, right?
Yep.
I
Hey,
mean,
before
it's
oh
not really screwing them because they probably wouldn't have picked up Baker anyway.
nah, I'd play Purdy over him anyway. But before we jump into a couple Facebook questions, keep an eye out. I'm gonna put something out. Underdog is doing a there'll be a commercial later on the show, but they're doing a playoff best ball. So we'll try to get a Fantasy Couriers playoff best ball up in there, see how we can do. Maybe get a couple people jump on with us as we do. So keep your eyes out as we get closer to the playoffs. That's still, a month and change away. But just a little information as you're looking for a fantasy game after the season, because we'll still be here. We're not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere. I'll be here.
Short and sit. Who are you going to start? Who are you going to sit? Let's find out. Hey, JJ Wang. I got more traction than I thought I would because everybody, in case you haven't, if you pay attention, we are recording a little earlier. We record on Sundays and Wednesdays for the next couple of weeks because JJ Wang loves his daughter and wants to go see her play basketball.
Yeah, basketball, man. I've been waiting. I'm gonna go on a little. I'm gonna go off the rails here a second.
Oh, here we go.
So my daughter, she's excited to play. Right? Awesome, fantastic. I love it. She was like, "Dad, you can't be more excited than me. I've been waiting, for it." I was like, "Look, let's get real here. You've been excited about this for 2 weeks. I've been waiting for this moment for 13 years. All right, so I feel like
You might have been waiting when you were at that game you came in. I'll never, the game.
Oh, I know the game. I've been waiting. I've been waiting for this moment for a really long time. So this is. I'm pretty excited about it, man.
So we got throughout the regular season. We'll give you two. Once we hit right at the end of the regular season, like week 17 will be done. We'll start doing once a week throughout the off season, giving you just great. You get one bam punch for the whole season. So a couple of guys, man, you all think we know too much. We're just dudes. So we're gonna give you our best analysis as always. I put on there. I'm sorry if we're wrong. We're guessing just like you guys are, and sometimes my answer online is flip a coin. Who do you want to watch? Because these questions are always generally so close. Kevin wants to know, is OBJ going to be available anytime soon?
I'm going to say no. If he's not signing with because from what I gather with the Cowboys said he wouldn't be able to play until like January. So if the Cowboys aren't going to sign him, that was the team that he was predicted to go to. I mean, I guess he's probably not ready to play then. But like I said, there might be a lower tier team that might put him up for some money. But he probably wants to play for a winner, right?
Yeah, if you're not playing Dynasty, you need to. I have OBJ on team, but I got to drop this week. There's nobody on waivers, but I was getting hoping he might pop in now because if not, you're going to get OBJ. His first game will be the first week of the playoffs. You're going to lose because you start OBJ. Like we're getting to the point where you don't try to be cute.
Yeah, I would not start the OBJ in any circumstance right now.
Yeah, I mean he might because if he came back like this week or last week, we would have known what we had before the playoffs. Yeah. If not, you're dooming yourself. But yeah, if you're in regular season league, just drop him. If you're in Dynasty and you got a spot on a 28 roster, why not? Because he'll have a year and a year and a half, a year and 3/4 to be healthy for next season, and you might have a sneaky wide receiver 3 there somewhere filling in. I mean, I don't get the Dallas match because Gallup's starting to look better, so I don't know. I guess they.
Yeah, I don't think it was a good play anyway. But every time somebody with a big name comes available, it's always, hey, let's go to the Cowboys. Yeah.
Oh, this guy. Hey, it's Home Improvement. Tim wants to know, the tool man, There's tons of them in the country. I don't like to drop last names, but that cracks me up. He has Debo in Tampa, Hollywood Brown versus the Patriots, or Gabe Davis versus the Jets. Woohoo!
Um, Debo's kind of tough right now. He's not playing all that. I feel like he's like the 40th ranked wide receiver or something crazy. It's not hasn't been very good for Debo this year. Gabe Davis, I mean, he's just
Hit
so
or
boom or
miss.
bust. It's more bust than boom. But I feel like that will be a high scoring game. You know what? I'm going to go with Hollywood Brown here because I feel like they're going to throw the ball. They're going to have to throw the ball, and there's only two people that are going to catch it. That's Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go Hollywood here.
Interesting. I was about ready to say Debo, and you almost convinced me not to because I guess 'cause I just watched him play last week. And
And Brock Purdy's so he was having
quarterback.
troubles with Jimmy Garoppolo finding targets. I can imagine how hard it's going to be for
Yeah.
with Brock. He might get a few more runs, maybe.
I mean,
But
I don't know what Hollywood Brown has though. That's the thing about like what's his role going to be. I would start Gabe Davis versus the Jets, knowing that the Bills don't just want to beat the Jets; they're going to want to roll the Jets because they're a division team and they want them to keep stumbling. So it's and on good news, my Bills Dolphins game got flexed next week, so Dolphins have 2 night games. How about that? I'm
how
excited
about
for that.
that?
You won't get to watch them. Okay.
Oh darn!
Shell wants to know, or Chalet. I don't know. You have to tell us, Chalet.
Shell.
Shell.
I would say Shell.
I said Shell. Yeah, there should be an accent on there for Chalet. Yeah.
Yeah, if they want that, if they want
Oh, it's
something,
probably
if they
short for
want
Michelle. That's what I bet you it is. Shell wants to know how long is Lamar Jackson out? So I did research for Shell. I did some research for you. Lamar has that. It's the PCL, right? Am I getting my injuries right?
Oh, you did the
I did
research.
the
I
research on the
think.
time frame. So let me make sure I got the injury right. But Lamar Jackson, it's a I believe it's a. Let me see. Yeah, it's PCL injury, and PCL is generally what he has is about a 1 to 3 week window, and it looks like it might just right now they're looking at based on where he is that it's going to be this week, which is fine. I'm hoping for 2 weeks because I have a bye week with my Lamar team, and that way he's back for my first game of the playoffs. But he's out at least this week, maybe next week. At the worst case scenario, 3 weeks. So if you're in the playoffs, make sure you picked up. Make sure you got Snoop. You got to get Snoop. That's what I like calling him Snoop. Snoop Huntley. Like I'm stashing him everywhere because next year he's a free agent, so he could land somewhere because he plays decent, and it'll be interesting to see if he lands on team as a stopgap or if he, you never know with some of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get you're going to get an opportunity. I feel like at some point.
Yeah,
with just the way the injuries go. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I just see him. I see Huntley just being that long term backup, come in and fill in a role here and there.
yeah, he's covered.
I
He's
don't see
covered
why
Mattel
I
this week.
just don't why he just doesn't stay with Baltimore.
Yeah, hot take. What if Lamar could be? I'll have to talk about that in the offseason. Will
I mean,
Lamar?
I'm gonna be real with you. I wouldn't pay Lamar that much money.
But the thing is, somebody's going to. And I've heard like Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's going to. Like, you know what? I'm not gonna say I wouldn't. I wouldn't pay Lamar that much, but that's
You will
I
pay
shouldn't
Lamar
say
that money. Yeah.
I probably would pay Lamar that much money.
Yeah.
But I would definitely have my doubts.
Yeah. Oh, you have because he's a running quarterback. I mean, he's still one of the best 12 throwing quarterbacks on the planet.
Because he's done nothing but decline ever since his MVP year.
So, Rick, I don't know.
Oh, this
Rich,
guy.
you might know this guy. I think it's Rich. It's something like that.
I
don't know. He asked me this earlier. I said to ask you. So he sent on a message. So he put it in here. Rich wants to know Kirk Cousins versus the Detroit Lions or Kyler versus New England. So you got a decent quarterback who puts up stats versus a garbage defense, or a guy who gets running yards and puts up stats and you don't like to watch him play versus a stellar defense.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Kirk Cousins. I feel like it's gonna be a shootout. Probably it's gonna be a lot of points scored in that other game. And I know I picked Hollywood Brown in my previous question, but I'm not a fan of Kyler Murray. Just 0%. I traded my one league that had him in. I traded him away. I'm just not a fan.
Dude, I'm up to 3 Kyler Murrays. Last week I did a trade to get Tyreek Hill on that Sunday trade, and Kyler Murray was literally thrown in as a garbage pick, like just to get rid of him. He's my backup in a 1 quarterback league. Like he is my backup. I got Josh Allen and Kyler Murray, so I'll take that all day, every day.
To me, Kyler's would be a backup. I mean, I wouldn't want him in a one quarterback league starting.
I like him as number two. So yeah, I'm with you. I just didn't want to. I felt dirty saying Kirk Cousins, but I think it's the best. I think it's
I
the
mean,
right
Kirk
answer.
Cousins hasn't played well the last couple weeks either.
Yeah, I feel dirty saying it, but I just think Detroit, New England's just so good on defense. Steven wants to know full PPR, no tight end premium, nothing, straight up. Juju, Hawkinson, or Andrews? This is a softball, right?
I guess
Oh,
you go
but
Andrews, right?
even with Huntley,
I guess. I mean,
you just
it'd
you
either
got
be Hawk or Andrews.
Huntley will still hit Andrews. He did last year, didn't
Yeah, but Andrews hasn't really been playing that great lately. Really that great lately either. But yeah, I'd still go Andrews at that point. Definitely staying away from Juju.
he? Jeff had one that led to a long thread, and I got to give a guy kudos for doing something I might have missed. Jeff said, "Dude, he's got a rough life," and I forgot. And I got to open up the Facebook page because I forgot to look at not his wide receivers are AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, Terry McLaurin, Hollywood Brown, and Jamison Williams. His tight end currently is Bellinger. Should he keep them all and Bellinger, or who should he drop between the last two? Guys on waivers are Goddard, Juwan Johnson, Evan Ingram, Tanyan, Gesicki, who's garbage, Hunter Henry, looking deeper, Jelani Woods. I do have to give Juan some credit here and tell me what you think of it. Juan threw in Goddard's coming back in a week or so, so drop you. He said to drop Brown. Drop Jamison Williams for him. And do you keep Bellinger or do you drop Bellinger to pick someone up because he's on bye?
Is Bellinger even playing?
Bellinger's play. He just came back in and he's playing pretty good. Wait, Bellinger's playing this week. Why is he dropping Bellinger?
I mean, Bellinger. I guess if Bellinger's playing, I guess you would have to keep. That should keep him, right?
Yeah, I would play Bellinger because I mean, you're if you're playing tight end carousel, it's you're throwing darts. You might as well throw a dart at Bellinger. Who
I mean, if you're picking tight ends up this late in the game, and there's probably not a whole heap of them on there, it's just so. I mean, Bellinger's just as good as anybody else.
yeah, I'm saying I was like I'm looking up the Giants here, and they're on bye, but my bye week copy thing didn't show they're on bye, so that's why he's trying to do it.
That's
So
why you need to drop Daniel Bellinger. That's why you need to drop Bellinger then.
yeah, apparently I missed.
I mean,
No,
I would drop Bellinger.
who do the Giants play?
I don't know. Oh yeah. I think they are on bye because they got the Commanders next week.
I thought they were, and they are December 11th. They're playing the Eagles.
Well, who's on bye then?
I got the whole list of that coming up. So the Giants are on side. They're playing? I'm playing Bellinger. Yeah, I would roll with Bellinger. I don't know how I missed that.
Unless somebody like Hunter Hurst isn't available or something, maybe.
I don't see him on this list here. No, it's popping up there. So yeah, but I would do what Juan said, and I would drop Jamison Williams to pick up Goddard. If you're a playoff contending team, if you're a dynasty team, you're still picking up Goddard. Like Goddard's there, and they said he's at the early part of the window, so he'll be back like a week or two because he went on in November.
I'd pick up Goddard and drop Jamison Williams.
Yeah, that's what I told you. Okay, and that's all we have of the questions. So excellent job, everybody there. If you got any others, we'll pop some up on Sunday. Bye weeks this week, though, as we go into week by week. And before the underdog commercial here, bye weeks this week, there's a whole slew. Falcons, Bears, Packers, Colts, Saints, and Commanders. So Falcons are going to be missing out Mariota if you're in dire straits. Maybe London, maybe Patterson, Bears, Justin Fields. That's a big hole for some people who've leaned on him. And Montgomery.
Oh, good thing Davis Mills is back.
Oh, yeah, you'd have nobody again. You'd probably start the wrong guy anyway. The Packers, you're going to be without a bunch of guys, Christian Watson and a bunch of other guys who let you down. The Colts, you're going to be without Taylor and more guys that let you down. The Saints, everybody lets you down. And the Commanders, you're without McLaurin and some running backs you might start. So there's a bunch of holes to be filled there, which this is it's like the NFL looked at it and said, we want to really laugh at the fantasy players and just screw them over.
I have a hard time believing the NFL.
They don't do that.
Really considers fantasy like that.
It's the fantasy gods looking at us going, I
don't think they really care. I don't think they really care about our feelings, man.
They don't. Yep. And now a message from our favorite sponsor.
Underdog Fantasy is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Now that we are in season, they offer even more fantasy sports options. You can choose to play 4 to 6 round draft contests with up to 10 people. can even create your own private draft room.
And that's not all. Underdog also offers pick'em fantasy contests where you decide if players will go higher or lower than a listed stat line, from touchdowns to yards to interceptions and many more. It's a fun way to show your fantasy prowess. Sign up now with the code Couriers, and they'll double your first deposit up to $100 in bonus cash.
And just in case you missed that, when you make your first deposit of 10 or more dollars, deposit 100, get 100 free.
And with their slick mobile app and user-friendly website, you'll have no problem jumping in and drafting your squad or making your best picks.
So join Underdog today, and don't forget to use the code Couriers. A link is in the notes of the podcast.
Now back to the podcast. Game by game preview. Hey, since we're going to have this out early, we can even talk about the Thursday night game, because we're not going to be saying, hey, unless you're listening to us later. If you're listening to us later, sorry, but we're going to give a little Thursday night for one of the 3 weeks of the year, and maybe we'll look at it and go, hey, next year, maybe we do this. It probably won't work with my schedule. But the Raiders and the Rams are playing Thursday night. Wowzers. Who wins the battle of the wills? Josh Jacobs or the Rams defense? Does he continue to roll?
I think he would just continue to do pretty much what he's done. The Rams aren't that. They've pretty much given up on everything they got.
I was going to say, my other question was Mike Collins or any receiver on the Rams. Who would you start?
I'd probably go Matt Collins, probably.
Yeah, it's Thursday night. Good luck. Hopefully it's better than it looks on paper. Just bet on it or something. I don't know. There's no luck there. Let's go to Sunday. Interestingly, a game of the day that we didn't think would be a game of the day is going to be the Jets versus the Bills. The Jets have dropped a little bit to what we think they're going to be, and they're going to end up Dallas Cowboying themselves out of a decent draft pick, but competing a little bit this year. So we have the Jets versus the Bills this week. These are two teams who will probably pass because they got some decent pass catchers, a stellar starting quarterback, and a up and coming, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what Mike White does. But we're looking at the running game for these two teams. You have a handful of running backs in this game. Which of those running backs, if you have to start a running back from this game, what would be the top two? Let's give me the top two.
I mean, honestly, top two would probably be Singletary and Cook, probably, because I think Michael Carter might be coming back. I seen where he's healthy, so
Possibly, yeah.
He might play. I mean, that's just going to muddy up the water even more. He'll probably get carries, Knight to get carries, and they'll probably be the only two that get carries. But the last couple of games, it's been like Singletary and Cook have both been scoring double-digit fantasy points.
Yeah, I mean, I have Knight on a couple of teams, and even if Carter's not coming back, I'm still worried about the Bills' defense in Buffalo. Good luck with that. We got the Browns going to the Bengals. Simple question before we get in. Deshaun Watson, will he score more than negative 1.5 points this week as he did?
I think he might get positive numbers.
I think he'll get to like 6. This is a battle. We're going for now, assuming the concussion protocols have been cleared. You picked up some running backs that your team ends up pretty stellar, and you could only start one of these two running backs because you're just one of those lucky dudes. Which running back is more successful this week, Nick Chubb or Joe Mixon?
I'm gonna say Joe Mixon because I'm just scared of that offense right now. I'm scared of the Browns' offense. You think they would have ran it a lot more last week, try to put the ball in Chubb's hands, but it just really didn't turn out that way, and I'm about to go the other way.
Yeah, I got a buddy at school who's a Browns fan, and I said, really, if I was the Browns, as we've talked about, we think that, Deshaun Watson, this is his preseason next fall. We'll see if he's back to normal. I would run the snot out of Kareem Hunt and save Chubb. Like, give Kareem Hunt 6,000 carries, wear him down, and keep Chubb for next year. Give him some carries so he's in the game, but wear him out. They're not going to do that. But anyway, Texans versus the Cowboys. Wow. What are the ratings going to be on this game? Like 1? Is anybody going to watch this?
Did you say the ratings? Oh, the ratings will be crazy on that game. If it's on TV, the ratings will be crazy.
It's in Texas, yeah, but it's going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible.
All Cowboys ratings are good. It's the Cowboys.
Yeah, by halftime, they're going to change the game, right?
Hey, I don't know if it'd be halftime, maybe the fourth quarter. But
do you play any Texans players this week?
Nah, I wouldn't. The only one I would consider is Dameon Pierce, but it's more of a flex
play. Collins is getting catches now. That's the interesting one.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he's getting catches.
But
If you got, I don't see Nico Collins as a wide receiver three at this point. I really don't see him as a flex play. So, I guess we're desperate. I guess buys, we mean people are desperate. So, I mean, if you're desperate, sure. Nico Collins is, if you got to start, you got to start. But I'm not, I don't want to.
you want to hear my hot take? I
Yeah.
have both of the Cowboys running backs. Pollard at 7, Zeke at 9.
It's possible.
It's going to be that bad. Vikings versus the Lions. I think the Lions are the best 5-7 team out there. Would you agree?
I think they're probably the best 5-7 team, and I think the Vikings are probably the worst 10-2 team.
Oh yeah, that's about right. Okay, there are 3 running backs in this game of note. You have Jamal Williams, you have Swift, and you have Dalvin Cook. Which one of those would you feel most confident playing?
Well, probably still Cook. He's going to get all the workload, and I think my number two is probably going to be DeAndre Swift. I think they gave him a little more last week. Now that could change, but like I said, if Jamal Williams isn't scoring touchdowns, he's really not that valuable. So you just got to. We all know how touchdowns. We all know how touchdowns go. Honestly, if Swift ain't scored a touchdown, he's worth absolutely zero. So, but yeah, it still scares me. I relying on touchdowns this late in the game when I feel like at this point, they're going to have to give their playmaker, and he might be healthy, so it's going to be tough. So I still think Cook is the safest.
You think the Lions are going to punt Jamison Williams this year, basically a season, and just fire him
No,
next year?
I think they'll try to get him some play. They're not going to.
7 last year, man.
They're not going to push him in a lot. He can go out there and run some routes to see where he's at.
Eagles versus the Giants, a high flying battle in the NFC East, where the Eagles are probably going to pummel the Giants, who are dwindling.
We also thought the Eagles were going to pummel the Commanders.
We did, but the Giants tied the Commanders, so in theory, the Giants are
Giants are going to pummel the Eagles.
Okay, let's go into this game looking at running backs. We got 2 running backs that are pedigreed higher, but right now they're scary to play. You got Saquon, you got Miles Sanders. How do they fare?
Well, I don't think Miles Sanders is scary to play.
Yeah,
Saquon Barkley is just
he's kicking his butt.
But no, Miles Sanders is scary. He scores you 0 points. At least Barkley. I think Barkley still put up like 16 points last week. It wasn't great, but yeah, you're just not what you wanted him for. But like the Giants aren't great. They've got no receiving options, but I'm still way safer playing Barkley. Barkley's still an RB1. Miles Sanders is luckily be an RB3 flex play.
And if you got a roster spot this week, or in Dynasty, even pick up the I just brain fart on his name. That's why I'm pulling up Hodgkins for the Giants. If you got a stash or a spot to see, he's getting a little bit of roll there with the Giants. Ravens versus the Steelers, battle of the AFC North. Steelers are going to find some way to sneak in the playoffs. We all know that is going to happen. Huntley versus Pickett. Who's your best superflex quarterback in that game?
I think we'll have to go with Huntley just because of the running. I'm going to have to just because of the running option. It's the offense really isn't going to change, and he can't scramble. Pickett can scramble too, but the numbers just aren't there. I think they're playing it super conservative. He's looked okay, but like I said, they haven't opened it up. They're not trying to push things yet, but I'm going to go with Huntley.
Well, how about the Muth versus the Andrews?
Yeah, I will go with Freiermuth on that one.
Woo, that's a hot take. Jaguars versus the Titans. Oh, man. You got the dwindling Derrick Henry, the fumbling Travis Etienne in those games. You're going to have to fire up both those guys. But look at the receiving cores for those teams. You have to play one receiver from this game, and his name can't be Christian Kirk.
Well, that's no fun.
Well, he's the only one you'd play. So,
exactly. So we're not playing
Christian Kirk even on non-bye weeks.
We're not playing anybody from Tennessee. So the only other guy you would play is Zay Jones.
I was trying to update and see Burks's Traden Burks keeping his status. If he's not, if he's in, would you consider him?
Sure. I'd pick Treylon Burks over Zay Jones.
Okay, that was the question. Yeah, so keep an eye on that. We don't know as we get closer in the week. Chiefs and the Broncos. Oh, oofta. Who I don't even know what to say this
Watch
game.
this be the game Russell Wilson balls out.
He has to,
And
doesn't
they
he?
beat them, and the Broncos beat them.
Oh man, we got Pacheco, who is on the up and up. Lat Murray, who's going to score some touchdowns. Would you? What would it take for you to put Lat Murray in a lineup? He's been
Uh,
consistent, but he's
he
old.
hasn't been consistent. I mean, it was
Well,
like he'd have to.
he's still getting 50, 60 yards a week, so he's
I mean,
getting.
he'd have to be my last option. I mean, like I said, I mean, if you got to start him, you got to start him. But I mean, he's probably like a low end RB3 at this point.
Start
I
one
mean,
wide receiver in this game.
who was the team? They're definitely not the Broncos. Judy's questionable, so he might not even play. Sutton ain't playing, and you know the only some random guy they pull off the street is going to be the only guy that catches the ball. Juju
Washington and
seems
DFS, baby. Washington and DFS.
Juju. It seems like he goes down with an injury every week. He looks like he's hobbling off the field. Um, good lord, is it I
MVS.
Kadarius Toney
Probably
doesn't
hurt.
play. MVS drops easy touchdowns. So you know what? The last man standing, Sky Moore.
That's all you got because you know it's gonna be the tight ends. Those are the stars. You got the Panthers versus the Seahawks. Two teams that are. I think this game might be better than it's going to look like. It's the scrub running back game, though. Talk about a scrubbish running back. We don't even know who the Seahawks running back is going to be. There's a chance that Walker might be playing. Keep an eye on him. Let's say Walker doesn't play. Give me the top two running backs in this game. The top two running backs in this game. Foreman's one, right?
Travis Homer.
Is Travis Homer the guy do? Because
I don't know who's the backup for Seattle.
There's DJ Dallas, Travis Homer. There's a whole slew of those crazy knuckleheads.
Oh, they picked up Tony Jones.
And Tony Jones. I couldn't think of his name. I was trying to think of his name while you're saying. And then you got Chuba there. So dire straits this week. Foreman, you're probably starting anyway.
Foreman probably gotta start him.
Homer?
Travis Homer, if he's available, I guess I'm not really starting DJ Dallas. He's not really the running back. Where he'll catch a ball here and there, but I don't know.
Imagine your team. You got to do that this week. Thank goodness for Davis Mills. You got the Bucks, who are, you know what they're going to do. The Bucks do what the Bucks do. They're going to sneak into the playoffs. I told my brother today, and they're going to win the Super Bowl just because Tom Brady wants to just laugh at us on his way out of the league. I hope not. But Bucks versus the 49ers, who could be really the team that challenges the Eagles, to be honest.
If they get a quarterback.
Hey, teams have done. They looked. They dismantled us, but it is going to be interesting to see. We were talking about it because my brother's a 49ers fan, that when you throw in that new quarterback, usually he does great the first game because these guys are so game planned. They don't. Yeah. They knew what Garoppolo was going to do. If Garoppolo played the whole game, I still think we would have lost, but I don't think it would have been the way it was. Purdy came in, they're like trying to figure out a dude, and they're just dumb, but they're so game planned. So now you got Buccaneers versus the 49ers. I mean, my simple question is, do you think the Bucs can beat the Niners?
I'm sure they can beat them. I mean, it's the NFL. The Commanders beat the Eagles, and we didn't see that one. We didn't see that one coming, right? Yeah, sure, they definitely can beat them. 49ers can't score. They're going to have trouble scoring. They're on their third string quarterback. I mean, Brady is still Brady. He came back, beat the Saints for 13 down. So yeah, they can still do it. But it's just going to be the 49ers defense.
Top two receivers in this game, not named Christian McCaffrey.
Top two receivers?
Yep.
That would probably be Brandon Ayuk and Chris Godwin, probably.
Oh, Ayuk above Debo. Okay, Dolphins versus the
Chargers. Look at the numbers. I mean,
yeah,
Ayuk's the better receiver on that team right now. Might not be back. I mean, it sounds terrible, but I mean, even Ayuk hasn't played that. Ayuk hasn't even played that great, but he's got better consistent receiving numbers than Debo.
Yeah, they just gave it to Christian McCaffrey all the daggone time. Dolphins Chargers, the battle of 5 versus 6. The two guys standing a few years ago in front of after Joe Burrow.
Oh man, I can't wait till we never have to hear that ever again.
What?
The 5-6 behind and then behind Joe Burrow. I just can't wait till all their careers are over. We don't have to hear about it.
We're going to be in our 50s when that happens, right?
I can't wait for it.
We have some great pass catchers in this game. I mean, you're lock and loading all the Dolphins pass catchers. Then you got Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer.
So we're going Josh Palmer is great.
He's been decent, wouldn't you say?
Okay, we'll go decent, not
Okay,
great.
but this game should be a shootout. Am I correct?
It should be a shootout. But
Uh,
whenever we say there's a shootout, the final score is 13-12.
okay, I'm going to go through this game. You tell me who you are starting this week. Waddle,
Oh, I'm probably starting everybody.
Tyreek,
Oh, absolutely. I'm
every
starting
running
every.
back.
I'll probably start Jeff Wilson or most. If I had one of them, I would start them.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not starting Gesicki, right? He's done.
Nah, probably not. But I mean,
Like
if
if
he
you
was my
start a
tight
Dolphins
end,
tight end, actually, you start
yeah.
Smythe. Actually, Durham
But
Smythe.
I would start I would start everybody. The
So you
receivers
start
for the
Everett.
Chargers, I'd start them. The running backs for the Chargers, I'd start them. I'd start
So
them
you're
all.
taking the over on that game. Here's a game we'll probably take the under on: Patriots versus the Cardinals Monday night. We're going to wrap up on this one. Yuck. I'm sure the question comes around: Mac Jones or Kyler Murray? You still start
Okay.
Kyler, right?
The fact that you've got the fact that Kyler Murray has gotten to the point where it's either him or Mac Jones, that is dread. But yeah, it's still start Kyler Murray. I'm not a fan of Mac Jones. I'm not a fan of Kyler Murray either. But at least Kyler Murray can run the ball.
You know, Ramondre is like a top 5 ranked running back this week.
He hasn't played like it the last couple weeks.
He hasn't. He's played like poo. So, well, JJ Wang, we've talked for a while. I enjoy having conversations. Let us give us some wisdom. Wrap us up. Let's get out of here.
Just continue with the waiver wire right now. I mean, you can still find a player here, a player there that can help you get in the playoffs, maybe even help you make a run in the playoffs. I mean, don't give up until the very last minute. So as always, trust yourself and trust the process.